The biggest opportunity is that to fill in that void in leadership that exists in the state. The diminish and loss of opportunities in higher education, the downsizing of our colleges and universities, the inadequate funding for our colleges and universities, not to mention the obvious inadequate funding and the downsizing and the loss of resources to provide the necessary health care for the people in Louisiana. I mean, it's a major void in leadership. This is the first time that I've seen, since I've been involved in any type of organization, institution, arena, whatever you want to call it, that I have not seen a plan for corrective action to address a crisis. This snowball is allowed to just roll down the mountain, getting larger and larger. I do not see a plan. I have not heard from the leadership of this state a plan for corrective action. And we can, as a Democratic Party, we can provide that leadership because we're committed to the best interests of the citizens of our state. We ended up with 42% in the primary. We approached the runoff election like it was a totally new election. We increased our direct contact with the voters, and we ended up actually winning by almost 70%, wow, which was actually the highest in the state of any senator or state rep in the runoff election, Democrat or Republican, which was which brought me back to full circle to the conversation I had with John Bear, which and some of the guys in the Democratic caucus. That was the plan. That was the goal. We achieved the objective. We achieved the goal. The Democratic voters in my district voted 3 times the rate that they had ever voted in a runoff before, because we forged the right message, we used the right methods. And these were Democrats. They came out to vote in overwhelming numbers. Mm-hmm. And they defied the myth that they wouldn't come out to vote. And the reason why that was so important to me is because that's the message that I want to bring to the Democratic Party. It can be done. Our voters are just waiting for the right leadership, waiting for the right message. We have, as a party, I think, made giant leaps, giant strides in reunifying and re-energizing our base. Karen Carter, as the new chairman of the party, and her staff has done a great job to develop a strategy that is going to pull the party back together and make the party an effective force in Louisiana politics and make the party a dominating force in leadership in Louisiana. I think the accomplishments thus far in the last 2 to 3 months have been more than I've seen the party do in the last several years. It's not an indictment against our leadership, but it's an indictment against our methods. We have to re-energize and we have to recapture our democratic strength, and we have to rebuild a party with the emphasis being on rebuilding. So we have to reshape our message, and we have to redirect our energies toward meeting the needs of the citizens of Louisiana. And I think we're on a path of doing that. We will do it. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight, but in 4 years, I think you'll see a difference in terms of the number of elected Democrats we have statewide. 2 years ago in St. John Parish, we had a Republican parish president, and a year ago we had a Republican sheriff. Now we have a Democratic parish president, Democratic sheriff, and of the 9 members of our parish council, 8 are Democrats. It can be done. And the voter ratio, Democrat to Republican in St. John Parish, is not much different from the rest of the state. So it can be done. It's just a matter of how do we direct our efforts, how do we shape our message to meet the needs of the citizens of this state. We have to develop a message that's going to touch them at their door. We have to go back to the old democratic grassroots methods, because elections are won door to door, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. And until we go back to those grassroots efforts, we aren't going to be able to achieve the desired results. But once we re-embrace and reshape and rethink those efforts and make them better, I think that I'm certain that we're going to be able to totally transform this party into not just a leader in Louisiana, but an example to the rest of the country on what can be done and how you rebuild a party to meet the needs of the citizens of your state.